And the flooring roadmap has 5 steps that we deal with you guys. So there's removal, there is prepare, there is fill and level, apply and polish, and then finish, if you need any overlay finish. So what we're concentrating on today, obviously, is removal, repair, fill and level. So you're all aware of our jackhammer trolley, and the jackhammer trolley now is the number 2 version. The number 2 version has the Hilti laying down instead of sitting up, and what it means now is that the block sets within the kit now mean you can have any brand of jackhammer and it'll fit in. You don't have to switch between Hilti and standard. Okay, so it's the one set of blocks now. So what we want to get to is just the basics of using it. So the idea of this jackhammer trolley is for 2 reasons. One is to break and the other one is to prepare, right? So that's removal, break and removal. So the 2 vertical positions, which is here and here, are basically designed to be removal. So you're breaking away substrate after you've taken the top off. And then the ones that are lower down are for removal. So you want to get to the lower space, right? Get your jackhammer working, foot plate on, and drive it just to pop the first few tiles or the first bit of lino or carpet or parquetry, whatever you want to move. Bring it up to the next level and then start pushing that along. And if you need to get more force, you can come up to that level and get your leg right in there and actually start driving it along. So the idea of that foot plate is for the biggest muscle in your body, which is in the thigh area, to be able to drive that through the job. The other thing with the vertical, guys, is the wide chisel. If they want to break, they should put a wide chisel in as well. So put the wide chisel in for vertical jobs and put the tile smasher attachment in for the removal jobs. Okay? You always got to make sure with this that the blade is parallel to the floor when they... So put the shaft into the actual jackhammer because it's a tapered shaft, and then put the head on. Line the head up with it being horizontal with the floor, and then you can drive the head home. If you put the head onto the shaft first and you got it out of sync, you could end up with an angle when you're trying to clear the floor. So there's that test game as well. Brake and lever assembly, you put pressure on to release. The idea is it takes the tension off the spring underneath to be able to do this. There's a spring with a locking pin that locks in the positions. If you push down and then release, it's much easier because it takes the pressure off that spring. Okay? And we recommend just the brands in the demolition hammers. The reason being is when they use this product, they can be working with it for 2-3 hours at a time, and the home brands just don't stand up to that sort of rigor. Okay, so Milwaukee, Makita, DeWalt, Bosch, Hilti, the 2 best items we find, and Hikoki, the 2 best items we find through the hire industry are Hilti and Bosch. They're the 2 that stand up to the capability. And Bosch is pretty readily available, City Tools, Total Tools, Bunnings. So it's a good recommendation because most of the guys that would deal with you would have an account with one of those 3 probably as well. And that's where they get their power tools and whatever from. So it allows them to do that. And then just a final on that, guys, is obviously the blades. You know, if the guys get used to knowing that you stock the blades for these jackhammers, it's a good opportunity for a little consumable base and to get them back in your door. The floor stripper and the jackhammer trolley is normally in conjunction, and the utilisation rates in the hire industry, which is our benchmark for the industry, is that about 50% of the time with the jackhammer trolley, the floor stripper goes with it. And the reason being is if you take tiles, for example, and they've got a flexible membrane underneath it, or carpet has got underlay under it and some other substrate under it as well, one or the other is going to do the job better. right? So sometimes the jackhammer trolley is too aggressive, so they use a floor stripper. Sometimes the floor stripper hasn't got the grunt, so they use a jackhammer trolley to get that bit off. And then when it's more finite, when they're doing, say, removing screed off timber or removing underlay underneath the carpet or taking the rubberized membrane off it as opposed to the cementitious membrane, they will use the floor stripper to do the flexible rubberized membrane, and they use the jackhammer trolley to do that. So they can go hand in hand. And some guys, the floor stripper is a better hire option, right? Because it's a higher price. It's about, $3,000 to buy. So they're more likely to buy the jackhammer trolley, get the job done, and then if they need to, they'll go and hire the floor stripper, which is in plenty of hire outlets. But of course, both of those being in hire have a good rate and create a lot of sales inquiry, a lot of demand. So this product basically is just a belt-driven oscillating blade. So it's got a camshaft at the front, belt rolls around, that camshaft makes the blade go in and out in a reciprocating sense. And that's what moves the product away. The idea, I'm not sure if you know, but the idea of the wheels in the most cases is for portability, right? When they're actually using it to lift the product, most guys will pick it up and actually drive the machine just with the blade through the job, and the wheels actually come off the ground so they can apply more pressure. So the weight at the front, which is the 16 kilo removable weight, so that 16 kilo removable weight provides the downward pressure, and then normally once you lift the wheels and push forward, you apply the forward pressure. The other reason that this weight's removable is if you want to use it on a cementitious screed on timber floors, you can take this weight out. I've got a video. We'll follow these up with videos and with some of the learnings, whatever, to send it around so you guys can use it as sales tools. We've got a good little video showing the floor stripper on timber without the weight taking up cementitious base. It's a good little trick. And then when you want to lift and load, you take that 16 kilo out and you're left with, about 28 kilo weight to move. So it's not too bad. This plate here can come off and you can adjust the belt. That's really the only thing. So the belt may need adjusting, and the bearings underneath for the camshaft may need replacing. They're about the only two things. And if you get hold of the product here and shake the head, you can feel it move when you need to fix the bearings. All you got to do is undo these. So it's actually tool-free. There's no tools required. So we just undo those. And the blade, as we said, there's concrete floors. So it shows you the two different uses. So you just put it whichever way you want, put it in, and then tighten these back down again, and away you go. Nice and simple. And the handle on this, just undo this and it's telescopic. So depending on the height of the person. Right, so the mixing station is probably the one that's more tricky because it's got to relate to the products that are capable of being utilised in it. We're just going to do a screen share of a matrix chart, and the matrix chart gives you the brands and the types of products in those brands, including your Roberts product and your Sika product, Ardex product, that is viable for use in the mixing station. And we'll send that around again as well. Okay, so can you all see that clearly? All good? So you've got Ardex, Marpaid, BASF, Sika, Dunlop, Bosick, Park M. You just scroll down, does it? AFS, so that's your AFS product, which is the AFS product in column F is actually the Roberts product. And these are all products that are on the current websites of these guys, so their current product. So the good thing is not only for Ardex, Sika and AFS product or Roberts product that you guys sell, there's also other brands there if the guys do use them, So for some specific jobs, they might prefer another brand, right? And it's good to have that education. If they rattle it, you just pull this product out. Yeah, mate, that'll work. And so the mixing station they buy for your Roberts product or Sika product, they could also use, in Dry-Bond or Kiesel or whatever, Parchem, if they preferred for some certain job that mixture. So we'll provide you this as well. It's a good tool because it gives a customer the confidence that you guys know what you're talking about when you're selling the mixing station. We can stop share. So the mixing station, this is it basically. The advantage of the mixing station for Macanex over the Hippo product, which is in the marketplace, is ours is the most preferred product for levelers and featherers toppings. So we have we know of a lot of customers with the Hippo that own also a Macanex. So the two importers of the Hippos being Florex and Allprep actually both sell our Macanex mixing station now. And that's mainly on demand. They've got customers that don't want to lug around a big 65 kilo Hippo machine, too much bulk mix. But at the same time, our Macanex mixing station in the tiling industry and those sort of things, when you're doing ramping, whatever, it's a better product than ours. So they can go hand in hand. So we tend to work together with those guys. And then when it gets to the bigger stuff, as you know, it goes to the Sorodos and those sort of things, which is the big paddle mixers. But this product, so over time, we've evolved and developed relative to silicoses and those things. So we now have a lid with a vacuum port in it. So you can actually put a vacuum on that when they're pouring the dust in, and it does tend to extract a bit of that dust as it's being brought up when they're pouring the bags in. And then once you've got the bags and you want to mix, you can bring in the other section and have it totally enclosed and have the vacuum still running on it. Some sites it's required. If you're on a tier 1 site, sometimes it's required to use vacuum extraction, or suppress dust.
Just a question on the blades.
Sure.
Is it the same blade inverted for timber?
Yeah, on the jackhammer it is. On the vinyl stripper, the floor stripper, you've got a beveled edge and a square edge.
Yeah.
But on the jackhammer trolley, it's just got square edge. But some guys, Davin, do get the grinder and they do put a bevel edge on the blade on the jackhammer trolley as well. So they can do that. They can just grind off a bevel edge if they want to get over the top of timber and not damage it too much.
All right. I've got a question.
Sure.
The guys at Flooring Future bought 2 last week based on that extraction port.
Yep.
And the next question after that is, can you create a lid that's actually got a spout?
No, so it's an important, good question, mate. So the reason that Hippo has a spout on theirs is because they decant it into smaller buckets or into their Pelican mixer, right? Whereas this is not a decanting tool. And when we did, so this was invented, right, by Flooring. So the reason they didn't put a spout on it and kept it wide is because they found that it was a greater splash rate when you had a spout on it, because it had a central point of hitting the deck and then splashing out from there. So it was a smoother, more even flow, and the splash rate was a lot lower by having it just rounded like that. That's their answer when we've gone with it. We have been asked before about the spouts, but when you talk to Hippo about it, they'll tell you that it was originally invented because of the big machine, and they've got it decanted down to carry buckets around or to now put in their little Pelican mixer. So even now, we're using their Pelican mixer. You've got to put the Hippo up on a couple of pallets to get it high enough and then mix it up and then bring the Pelican mixer to it and pour them in. So that was the reason. And some of them just get used to that spout, Davin, and that's where it is. But it was to have a wider, smoother pour was the original design.
So both of those machines, that and the jackhammer trolley, they're predominantly 10 amp?
Yep. 15 amp lead, 10 amp pike.
Okay.
And I think on the demo hammers they're the same. Most these days, most of them are 15 amp lead because of the size, the power usage of the machine.
Yeah.
With a 10 amp plug to make it viable for a normal household.